have no fear. Side schooners finally here. You know intarsia, don't you fret, 'cause she'll show ya. Hey!
Hi, welcome back to my corner, which I'm calling the swamp. All right, we're getting into our project here, and we're going to be taking the papers off today. So there it is with the papers. And it's going to be very exciting to take them off today. So let us see. Let me begin. We're just going to rip them off, and we don't have to worry about the glue that's remaining on them because we're going to be sanding, and that sanding will take all that glue away. Yeah. Was pulling the papers off the project and could hear the rain outside. I could hear it this morning too, and then it stopped for a while, and now it's raining again. Different than Oregon rain for sure. It really comes down here. All right, enough of marveling at the rain. I will get back to peeling papers off my project. Okay, we have the papers removed, and those colors look great. I'm happy with the colors. I have to deal with some things where this is not fitting, and so I have a little tiny file set, little diamond files. And what I'm going to do is I am going to just file in some areas to see if I can make that fit better. That's working quite well. With these smaller pieces too, I mark the bottom with an X so that I remember which side is the bottom. Once you take the papers off, it can get confusing. Not too much with the big pieces, but with the little pieces. I wanted to talk about the sandpaper that I like to use. I like to use 100 grit, and I like to use 150 grit. Then I like to use 220 grit. I hardly ever use 80 grit. This is my 100 sandpaper, so I'm going to roll it really tight because I want to use it on this piece where it's got a pretty good size bump right there. So I just hold it like that and sand it, trying to get it, that lump out. And we'll see if it fits on our piece. Not quite, a little bit more. I need to use my pneumatic sander next, and because we moved here, it isn't pumped up anymore. It lost its air. And this puffs up with air, and it's deflated, and we don't have our compressor hooked up, so we're getting a little compressor so we can pump it up. Woohoo! We got a new sanding thing on there, and got it all pumped up. And I'm just going to move it over there so that we can start sanding. I'm going to show you a couple of things that are a bummer about having some thin wood with some thick wood. So as we can see here, My little green pieces of Vera are narrower than like my bowl piece. So since I want my project to stand up and this apple is going to be in front of the bowl, then I need to add some risers to that. It's not the most ideal, but once the project is finished, you'll never know. Well, I guess you will, but you won't see it. And everything else is looking pretty cool. The apples are looking like apples. Great. Everything's looking like it's the fruit, except for that mystery fruit. We don't know what that is. All right, I have a lot of that fine sanding done. I have to do a lot more later, but I want to get into the big sanding right now. I'm going to start with the bowl piece, and you can do intarsia just how you want, really, because everyone has their own technique. You just got to figure out what works for you. Different thoughts about different things, but I'm going to start with this bowl because it's like the center of the piece, and I have some of the fruit sitting in the bowl, some of the fruit sitting outside of the bowl, some of the fruit hanging over the side of the bowl. And so it's going to be my key piece that I form everything else around the bowl. And I'm just going to get started. It's going to be really noisy because I'm going to have the suction going, and I'm going to be having the sander going, and it's going to make a lot of dust, so I'm going to wear my mask. All right. Let's sand some wood. And I'm sanding with the 100 grit right now. That's just going to be my rough sand to get the shape, and then we'll go into fine sanding later. Hoping to give the bowl a lot of shape because it's a bowl, and bowls are round. Okay, let's just go see how that looks. Okay, there it is, minus the bowl. Let's place the bowl in there. Okay, we have the bowl in there, and like I said, a pretty rough cut, but I like it. I like that we made it look more like a bowl. And the grapes are going to go over the top. All these things will be inside the bowl. These will be in front of the bowl. All right, let's add some risers because I see that my red apple is also narrow because we don't have the thick wood. And I like to make it, very 3D-like, coming out and stuff. And intarsia can be flat, it can be 3D-ish, it can be whatever you want because it's art and it's fun and it's unique to every person. All right, let's add some risers. Okay, I glued on some risers, and I have some clamps. So I'm clamping that wood, and I'm using this wood glue, Titebond wood glue. And when that dries, then I can work on those pieces. And if those risers are too high, it doesn't matter because we can always sand it down. Okay, as we're letting the risers dry, we can work on some other things. And what I'm noticing is the bowl, like I said, this fruit is going to be inside, the grapes are going to be hanging over. And so this fruit is going to be on the front of the bowl, but a bowl is shaped in, it shapes around and in. So let's make this in. But I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark. This orange is this size, and so we want the bowl to go to about there. Let's mark it on the inside too. About there. And this is just your own artistic eye. Okay, let's go sand it. We made those marks on the bowl, and we're going to sand that so it's more bowly shaped on the bottom. You know what I mean? Here we go. Okay. I think that looks a little more bowly. Looks like I need to sand that just from looking at this. Looks like I need to sand that one. rough sanding. This is just getting our shape. We're gonna go back through and we're gonna be doing a lot more sanding. But right now we're just trying to make everything kind of fit. Hi, I'm going to show you how I'm going to sand where the stem makes the orange kind of pucker a little bit. Okay. I just take the sandpaper and I go into where I sawed it, and you just sand that away some. Just to round out the edges a little bit, and I'll give that puckering look. We'll have to sand this again, but again, this is just our first initial rough sanding. Okay, we have all that side done. Let's flip it over and do the other side. That's where that stem fits in. Let's go see how that looks. There's where we sanded this, where the stem goes. There's the little top part of the orange, and then this, so we can see now how it kind of looks more like an orange. We're starting to look more like a bowl of fruit. Sanded down this orange, made it orangey shape. Sanded the stem down, made it shorter than the pear, and it's going to be shorter than the apple, which we haven't sanded at all yet. I sanded a few rough grapes, and I sanded this orange, and we talked about that already. And so we're waiting for those pieces to dry, which will be another day. Okay, I think that's enough for the day. I'm going to do a little bit of cleanup, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Especially when they're kind of symmetrical. Especially when they're kind of symmetrical. Hello. Hi. Hello.